We're going to dive into the science of depreciation to understand why it can be your friend and it can be your enemy. It's going to matter what side of the fence you're on, if you're buying or you're selling. As a quick example, these two cars right here, brand new, one cost $150,000 while the other one cost around $50,000. So 3 times the other. Today, guess which one's worth more? So I ran some numbers here. This took way too long. I think I took 2 hours making this, and I did so you don't have to. But let's look at the numbers. I spec'd a 7 Series, and I spec'd it pretty normally, but I did pick the 760, I think it was, but I didn't make it ridiculous. The price new was around $130,000. Then I spec'd a Ford F-150 XLT. Again, didn't do the Lariat, didn't do the Limited, didn't do the Platinum or King Ranch or anything crazy, just the XLT, which started around $50,000. So $130,000, $50,000, and then I went and looked at used car values for that car for the past 10 years. And no surprise here, this is wild, but you can see the cost of owning that F-150 is not a ton. The utility maintains. It's a tool. The 7 Series, the utility is gone. The demand shrinks. It no longer delivers on its promise to wow you with technology and show other people that you've done well, because now it's an inexpensive car. The real answer here is to avoid any concern about any of this and just buy somewhere on the graph down here when it flattens out. The big question here obviously is going to be, what cars do we buy? And assuming you aren't buying a Porsche 911, and if you are, more power to you. We just want to use the above logic. Everyone's heard the adage that a car loses value the moment you drive it off the lot, and that's definitely true. But for many cars, it's far worse than others. There's a reason most cars are not labeled as vintage, but rather labeled as used. Depreciation is really a function of demand over time. It's not linear, it's not strictly tied to mileage, but to the demand of the car. The demand is driven by a number of different ways. The big one is, does it offer utility? I think the best place to probably start is to focus on trucks and vans. Vans, probably the sexiest mode of transportation. When you think of the value of buying a new van, it's first and foremost as a people mover. When the van gets old, that value does not change. It'll still move people just as well in its 12th year as it will its first year. It's going to do that long after a new luxury car has lost its ability to show other people you have money or to wow you with new technology. Trucks. If you need a truck, you're going to buy a truck. We could argue that newly purchased trucks maybe are rarely needed. The secondary market is usually a little bit more genuine in its purchase of trucks. On the flip side, no one needs a 10-year-old S-Class Mercedes. A large part of a new luxury car's value is the fact that it tells other people you've done well. It's a nice place to spend time, but it's chock full of new technology. When it's not new technology, and it's not a new expensive car, it loses a lot of utility. It loses demand. The most valuable vehicles ultimately are tools. I called this out in another video that a buddy had shared. The new market values luxury while the secondary market values utility. And all that means is the technology that you pack into a car, generally speaking, is oftentimes worthless. So when you're thinking about checking those boxes for what was navigation in a car 10 years ago, think about if the next person is going to care. However, from a mechanical standpoint, did you option a tow hitch? Did you option four-wheel drive? Did you option roof rails? All of these, the secondary market values. Another big one in the secondary market, it's going to be reliability. If it costs you $5,000 a year to maintain a $20,000 car, that's not a $20,000 car. This means that generally speaking, Japanese cars are going to beat out their European counterparts. I once owned a Audi Q7, not my favorite car. I believe it needed new front rotors and they wanted $1,900 to do the front rotors. Everything costs more. And I don't mean things breaking, just maintenance costs more. I did the brake job here myself, so I can't compare it, but it uses Toyota Land Cruiser brakes. It's a Lexus, but it's a Toyota part. It was cheap. The part that breaks this equation a little bit, because it is ultimately demand, is the enthusiast market. And rarity gets the attention of enthusiasts. If they only made 106 of them, they're probably going to attract some people's money. Or anytime somebody believes it's the last naturally aspirated 12-cylinder manual of something. And really, with any enthusiast market, the 911 does well. it's going to show up on those lists with the least depreciation value, and oftentimes you drive it off the lot and it appreciates. It bucks the trend here a little bit, but if you think about the things that contribute to demand, it's right there. It's actually hard to go buy a new 911 today. I think most people assume you could go into your dealer and say, hey, I want to spec XYZ 911. It doesn't work like that. In many cases, you have to be in their good graces, which means you have to have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with them. You're welcome to buy one on the lot that maybe ultimately isn't spec'd that great, or they've marked up and has a sticker of $50K over MSRP or worse. But generally speaking, the demand dictates the price. So let's look at Toyota Tacomas. It's a pickup truck, it's a Toyota. Those are both going to generate great demand, and the market agrees. And that's really true for almost any Toyota due to reliability, and most of them offer a fair amount of utility. We're thinking 4Runners, we're thinking Tacomas, we're thinking Siennas, we're thinking RAV4. RAV4 I think is the second or number one most purchased car in America. Hondas, Honda CR-V, Honda Civic, both do really well. Residual values, the amount that you can sell them for after you've owned them for a period of time, both wonderful. Buy a Honda Odyssey. I did. In fact, buy my Honda Odyssey so I can go buy something that makes way less sense and appreciates a ton more. Oddly, the internet and residual values suggest that the Chevrolet Corvette holds its price well. I did not run the numbers and take another hour, but they make 1 million special editions and they pump out 100,000 of them a year. And there's always a ton of them not being driven with really low miles by guys that look like me in 20 years. So I'm surprised by this, candidly. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Corvettes are not rare. They do not offer a ton of utility. I guess relatively for a sports car, they're easy to maintain. They're Chevy products. That said, there's enough of them on the market that the law of supply and demand would suggest that they would not retain value well. And the learning here is short-term ownership, when you buy on this part of the graph, absorbs the biggest losses. And then people end up overpaying for options that do not return on value. Long-term owners experience depreciation differently, but secondary owners are the ones who are really making out. So next time you buy a car, just think about who wants to buy this car when it's old. Is it going to cost them a lot? Is it going to provide utility? Is it rare? And honestly, I wouldn't over-index the rare thing. Some cars are rare because they're not very good.